Board games, board games, it's what I'm talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing. And today I want you to know, if you don't already, that I truly love Go. This is a box I bought. It is fairly cheap. It came with a little book that at the time it helped to heap. And it's got two boards. Well, one board with two sides. It's got the 9x9. And the 19x19 is more wide. Board games and Go, it's what I'm talking about. Board games, Go, and other stuff I'm not gonna shout. Hello and good morning, good whatever it is, wherever you are. I am Bez, and this is episode 466 of Bezzy Beats and Board Game Briefer Bladder. So I am going to be chatting about Go. I love Go, and I'm going to tell you about how I played it yesterday. And I've already talked about my top 10 games in the world. I've already reviewed Go. I've said it's my favourite game when I reviewed it. Then I went into my top 10 games and I had a list of my top 10 games and I said Go was my favourite. And, last year, over the past few months, I've been falling in love with Roots. Roots, it could actually be in my top 10. Roots is an amazing game, but then I taught Go to a new person last night and we had just so much fun. And it's like, yeah, this is definitely, in my opinion, the best game in the world. And so, yes, that is end of the show. Oh, no, don't worry. I am going to justify my opinion. I am going to try to attempt to justify my opinion. I am going to also talk a little bit about some of the stuff that, while we were sitting down and then I started saying things in a relaxed manner, and at some point, my friend said, seriously, we should write a book about, you come up with the sort of epithets, I explain how it relates to life, and maybe you explain how it relates to the game. So yes, we are going to do that, but I have so many projects on, she has so many projects on, so it's probably not going to happen until next year at the earliest. But regardless, yes, Go is blimmin' amazing. And let me just bring a picture up. Okay, so yes, let's talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights, recent highlights, and good morning, Yoda. It is lovely to see you, you wonderful Netherlander, you. So I am basically, I'm just in love with Go. In case you didn't know, Go is my favourite game. And yesterday, I had a couple of friends over. We'd arranged to meet up. We were arranging to meet for something a little bit more substantial. So last time they were over, we played a bit of Key Market. And I said, okay, we'll play something that takes a good couple of hours. Or do you fancy playing maybe two games that take maybe 1 hour-ish each? So I had made a bunch of stir-fry noodles, a little bit of okra. I know it's weird in a stir-fry, but it did work. An onion, 9 mushrooms, a couple of peppers, a whole bit of ginger, an entire bulb of garlic, and 2 packs of udon noodles. Mixed it up. And in the end, it served, I would say, 4. I mean, it served me twice. It served me for lunch and also my late night dinner. Anyway, having this stir-fried, friend came over. The other friend who was meant to come over didn't come over. And then we're like, okay, 2-player games. Okay, well, we've chatted for a good half hour. We've eaten. Now, what would you like to play? Well, this is my favourite game. It's an abstract game. You place pieces around. And then she said, let's play that. Didn't even ask about the other stuff. And that is how it started. Just because she said, yeah, it looks simple. And indeed, we played a couple of 5x5 games. I know that people say, oh yeah, 5x5, it's not relevant. But to me, let me just show you. I have made out of cardboard, out of little cereal box cardboard, 5x5 boards, because this allows me to just say, okay, let's play. Don't worry, just play however, and you will understand by the end of the game. And start them off with 2 or 3 extra stones. They'll probably beat me. I mean, you should win even just by starting on a 5x5. And once we played a couple of games on that, and I was like, okay, I start to see how. And I've started actually explaining the groups as organisms and the liberties as breathing spaces. It seems to be something that kind of feels a bit more thematic and people understand it and interpret it a bit more. Then we played the 7x7, which you can see there, and then we played 2 games on the 9x9. And on the 9x9, I think both of the games were 37 to 44 with 2 stones. So really, next time, maybe I'll give them 3 stones as a start, or possibly also it's just at the start of their journey. My friend's going to improve very much. But I will talk about that a lot more. But recent highlights. What are your recent highlights? If you're watching, then, yeah, what have you enjoyed recently? Have you played any games that fill you with the same passion that you could get from playing a game of Go? Does any game compare to the goodness of Go? Okay, so Yoda, Netherlander Yoda says, the first time streaming on Tabletop Live Network, and I got a raise. I saw that. That's fantastic. I was going to reach out to ask you, like, how they got back to you, when they got back to you. That is excellent. So, like, for those who don't know, TLN, they stream, like, once a month and also additional times, and it's a raid train. They do 24 hours of streaming about board game stuff, people playing board games and chatting while they're doing it. And for the first time, Yoda was part of that. Congratulations, Yoda. And I hope you had a lot of fun with that. That sounds blimmin' fantastic. Now, if you do not go, or if you have any other questionably quick questions, then please ask me. Questionably quick questions is the next section. It's not an interrogation. It's just a questionably quick question section. Questionably quick question section. Okay. And while you might be thinking about your questionably quick questions, I'm going to talk about a brilliant thing. Brilliant thing. What's the little thing which is brilliant? Okay, so today I am talking about Go, and I'm going to keep talking about Go. I'm going to say that Go is brilliant, and here's the reasons why Go is brilliant. Firstly, primarily, the reason why Go is brilliant is because I can have an interesting game with someone straight away. I almost consider Go to be a game system in the opposite sense that the Looney Pyramids and the deck of cards and my own L deck is a game system. I consider it a game system in the wargaming sense. And I really wish that there were 2 words for this, but it's a set of connected games that share a bunch of rules. By which I mean, if you play Go on a 7x7 board, I think that's an interesting game. It's not as good as 19x19. There's not as much depth there, and it certainly wouldn't have captivated people for millennia, but if you're just getting into the game, for me, that was an interesting game. For me, playing Go on a 7x7 board with my opponent starting off with 3 stones, that was interesting. It was like, okay, how do I start? How do I exploit the small mistakes they made? And we're learning together. It's also about the learning together. Let's talk about the handicap system. Let's talk about the way that you can play it on different sizes of boards. Yeah. Okay, let me start off with the handicap system, because that is the main reason why I love Go so much. The main reason I love Go is because within a couple of hours of me teaching the game to someone, we can be playing a very interesting game, to my mind. Sure, the first hour, there's a bit of patience, and it's like, yeah, I'm teaching you because I'm enjoying our time together as a friend. I'm not particularly enjoying the game. But then very soon, a bunch of extra stones, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, this is an interesting situation. Now, how would this actually turn out? And I'm having to start to think ahead, because that advantage really makes up for the skill disparity. And yeah, for me, being able to play an interesting game with someone almost straight away, that is a brilliant thing. And hello, J Foolsguard, yes, go. That's what it's all about. And I'm just listing off reasons why I think it's brilliant. If you have reasons why you think it's brilliant, then please do feel free to share. The second reason why I think it's brilliant is because, as I said before, it is actually a whole bunch of connected games. Because 9x9, if you play 9x9, that is quite a different game to the 19x19. So let me just take out the board. I should have just left this out so I didn't risk tearing my cardboard board, but so you've got the 9x9, right? And then you've got the 19x19. The 19x19 is literally more than 4 times the size. If you've got the 9x9, this is kind of like a small skirmish battle. You're learning how to plan ahead. You're kind of learning the little intricacies. You're learning to look ahead and plot and learn about the different shapes. But then on the 19x19, suddenly you've got the big landscape of strategy. It's like you've got something going on here, something going on there, something going on in the middle, and it's all interconnects. And, you know, if one day, I don't think this will ever happen, but if one day there is, you know, a bunch of professionals who feel like, okay, we've actually beaten 19x19, it's kind of not as exciting as it once was. Well then, they could go a couple of steps up, maybe to 21 or 23x23. So that is amazing, amazing. Yoda says they love to respond to messages on social media like, best dexterity game, go, by saying, go isn't a dexterity game. And honestly, best game, go. That is what I am saying. The best game. Okay, so that's 2 reasons. Firstly, the fact that we can have a good game with each other straight away. The fact that you can play a shorter game, you can play a longer game, and it feels quite different. It feels like you're still exploring the same tactics. The third reason why I love it, right? I mean, this is nothing to do with the game itself, but it has to be said. The fact that it's millennia old, the fact that it's got a history, the fact that it's got lore. I mean, not just something written by the people saying, okay, these are our aliens, and these are what the aliens did, and here's a story about our aliens. No, I mean a real lore about, hey, this is real people who played the game, and this is how it's interacted with their lives, and this is how in the ancient feudal Japan it was such an instrumental part of the world that they said, I believe, the 4 things you need to be a proper samurai are calligraphy, swordsmanship, of course, playing, I think there was an instrument that you had to play the instrument, and you had to play Go. Something like that. I might be wrong on one of them, but definitely playing Go was one of the considered one of the 4 pivotal things to be a proper, well-rounded human. And I think that even in modern days, sure, you can go and play Santorini. Santorini, it's a good game. You can go and play Hive. You can go and play Pelago. You can go and play Corridor. I mean, I love these games. You can go and play Mindleaf. Shout out to Andy Hopwood, great game. But none of them have the sheer depth and history and amazing magnitude of potential that Go has. And that history, the stories around it, the art around it, being able to now engage and feel like you're somehow having a connection with people from thousands of years ago, that is a brilliant thing. That's the third brilliant thing about Go. So J Folsgar says, yes, absolutely, 19x19 is like landscape. Yoda, if you've never played it, I would absolutely recommend you play it. I would happily play it online with you one day. Like maybe, yeah, we can organize a thing. I would teach you Go and we can play it for like maybe 2 or 3 hours. When I say that, it is, I don't know a good place to play it online. I always play it in person, but yeah, maybe like next year can do something. J Guard says, I only got to travel Go, should get a proper board and stones. That's the beauty of the game. You don't need these miniatures. It's like, yes, people can get the beautiful 19 by 19 table made out of wood and with the little legs and with shell stones and with slate stones, and then it costs like hundreds or even thousands. But you don't need that. You can just get something that you bought for less than 20 quid and it will still serve you. It will still be your favorite gosh darn board game ever. And I think that is also an incredible thing about Go. Is that you don't need... Okay, I'm just going to list off more things. Fourth reason, it's really simple. It is really simple. There's ubiquity in pieces. It's not like Mindleaf or Hive or Chess, where suddenly you've got all the different types of pieces. It's not like Santorini, where you've got extra things going on. To be fair, Santorini, even without the special powers, it's still a really excellent game. But yeah, I think that the simplicity and the ubiquity of the pieces, that is a fantastic thing. Fifth thing that I love about Go, the best thing about Go, one of the best things about Go is that it finishes. So chess, games where you move pieces, you sometimes get into spots, don't you, where you want to move a piece there and then your opponent moves back. And then maybe you're like, okay, now I need to move back. And then you kind of get to, like, there's that potential. There is the potential for getting into a stalemate. And so, yes, getting into a stalemate, not a great time. So, conversely, with Go, you're always putting down pieces. You're always putting down pieces, filling up the board, and you're enjoying it. And the game ends. You see at the start, the board is empty. And then as the game continues, it fills up until there's a narrative arc, there's a flow, there's the early game, there's a mid game, there's a late game. And there's something beautiful about that. I will admit that there's a slight negative, that it means that you don't know exactly that. It's not like Kerplunk, where Kerplunk, it's like, oh, wow, we pulled one piece and then all the marbles fell down. That gives the game a bit of extra variation. But even though you know the overall framework, that gives it a bit more comfort. But within that framework, you know approximately how long it's going to last. But there's so many more surprises to have. And so there you go. That is the fifth reason that I love Go. And yeah, Go is a brilliant thing. So let me catch up with stuff. Firstly, Go is on BGA. Yep, we could do that. A good friend of mine recently wrote a university thing on how the Go community have reacted to AI beating humans in Go. That would be really interesting. And hello, Imagine. Yoda says, Lacerda claims his games are easy as well. Mostly draw a card and play a card. Not too hard to remember. Yeah, I'm not going to... That's kind of cheating. If you... Yeah, I don't think that you can compare your games to Go. And if you are using cards to give essentially additional rules and additional opportunities of things you can do, no, that's not as simple. So Go is one of my design blind spots. I know the rules and have played it a couple of times, but I feel like I don't get it yet, says Manuel. Probably because I haven't found someone to play it consistently. I don't think you need to play it consistently against any individual, although having said that, I did play quite a lot of games against Joel, my old best friend. But you can play online. There are, I know it's on BGA, but there's also other places. Ask on Board Game Geek, hey, where is the best place to play Go online? And then, honestly, like, I almost feel like, yeah, not this year because I've got too much to do, but yeah, maybe as one of the playful shenanigans or something, we can play Go together. Honestly, says Jay Foolsguard, it takes some time to get it. At least that's been my experience. I don't play it a lot, says Jay Foolsguard, because I'm not too fond of perfect information games. And yeah, the pronunciation question you'll have to ask Manuel, or it might be Manuel. But anyway, Go is brilliant. We have established that. Now, in the absence of questionably quick questions, let me get that off and let's talk about Go and life. So, these are some things that I said during the game of Go that I was teaching my friend. So, yeah, actually, I'm going to talk about perfect information games. I'm going to talk about this because I get it. I get that perfect information games you can only play with certain people or with a certain mindset. There is the potential for analysis paralysis. There's the potential for someone to feel overwhelmed, to feel, hey, I had all the information at my disposal, and so I should be able to work out the best move. The truth is, it's not about one of the games, it's about the whole journey of learning and, becoming better together and just enjoying the journey. And hopefully your 10th game, you might not make the same mistakes that you did in your first game. And as you play, you will learn how things are connected. I mean, you see this, and I instantly see, okay, black's got 3 groups, and or white's got 1, 2, 3, 4, and white's in a tricky spot. And actually, black's possibly going to be killed if white cuts in underneath. It depends very much who's got the next move. But you see this, and then you start having the ideas going in through your mind, and you learn more and more. Go reminds me of Othello's, and so yeah, sure, because there is the black and white stones. For those who don't know, the way it says, basically, if you're connected along the line, you're part of one organism. If your organism, which might be 1 stone or it might be 10 or 20 stones, if it has no breathing spaces, so if it has no empty adjacent spots next to it, then it says suffocated and it's removed from the board. At a certain point, if you have 2 mouth holes, as I like to call them, if you've got 2 mouth holes, then there's no way to suffocate both your mouths because you can only go in one thing at a time. And if you stuff a mouth, then those pieces will kind of get suffocated. But yeah, there's a lot of emergent strategies. So now I've basically told you all the rules, but now you kind of, and you take turns to go back and forth. At the end of the game, the person with the most empty spaces that are next to something of their own color and pieces of their own color on the board, add up those 2 numbers. Person with the highest points wins. So on a 9x9, there's 81 potential points. And so 47 to 44, for example, or it might be 41 to 40 if it was a very close game. And there's no clear, okay, just go for the edges. It kind of builds up a lot more. At Go, it doesn't have the dramatic flips that Othello has. It doesn't have the big dramatic moments normally, but it does occasionally have the, oh my gosh, I didn't notice you could actually take that piece. I thought this whole big group was alive, but now you've managed to destroy its one weak spot, and now it's not going to be able to make 2 mouthfuls. And you do have that occasionally. But compared to Othello, where you've got a big flip and it feels a lot more chaotic, Go, it feels more like a tiptoeing around. It feels more like you're engaging with each other. You're building up bit by bit, and sometimes something goes away, but it's bit by bit. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, Tack and Hive are two of my favourite abstract games, says Manuel. Like, I'd absolutely recommend playing more of Go in that case. And apparently Manuel's name is more like Manuel. Manuel? I think I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Manuel. Oh, anyway, so now I was going to just read out some things. Some things are fixed. Other areas you can change. Play where you can change things. So this is my first strategic point. Like, some parts of the group, like if we look at this board, like this is actually a finished game, but actually this is a perfect example. So if we look at most of the border is perfectly fixed. There's no way to change that. And a bit of the black at the top and the top right, that's dead. Nothing can change that. But, you know, there's a little space on the top left. That's worth 1 point. It's not very much. But whoever goes next should really play there. And because you can change something. Normally, in the middle of the game, there'll be some places where you think you're alive, some places where you think you're dead. You can't change those things. And so play where you can change things. And of course, that applies to life, as you can imagine. Secondly, some things are inevitable. You don't have to hurry them along. By which I mean, if you've got a piece from your opponent that's going to die, that's dead, you don't have to rush in and kill it. It will finish. You do it when you're good and ready. You can do the other things and then come back to it. There's no rush. You have to cut your losses. You can't keep every hope alive. So, like, you know, the stuff at the top right, frankly, by playing more and more, I mean, thankfully, under Chinese scoring, there's no detriment, but you're kind of giving up potential turns. And then while you're doing that, maybe your opponent has a time to solidify their places elsewhere. You need strong boundaries. As in life, as in Go, you need to establish your boundaries. Where are your boundaries? Make sure your boundaries are strong. And yeah, essentially, if your project will fail, don't waste your time with it. And whatever you do, it should have a purpose. And it's like kind of thinking about these things from the point of view of playing the game, but also it applies to life. And while you're playing the game, then you start thinking about life. And that, for me, is really arguably a wonderful thing about Go, because it's not just about who won or who lost and having the handicap of, okay, you won because you started off with extra stones. It's about, we are able to have a conversation. You're able to put pieces on the board. I'm able to reply to them. But while we're doing that, we are also able to talk. We're also able to carry on a conversation, connect as humans. And that is the best thing about Go. Go is brilliant. And that's my thing. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's the end of my stream. Thank you very much, Manuel. Thank you, Imagine. Thank you, Yoda, J Guard, for being here. If you've got any more questions, if you want to shout out stuff you're getting up to, then now is the time. So before I wrap up, I will ask, over to you. What are you up to? You can share, but only if you want to. So whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this after the fact, what are you up to? Is there something that you are looking forward to? Is there something that you need to do? Something frivolous? Something serious? Let me know. Personally, I have to do something that I'm really not looking forward to doing. I have to go to the council and sort out a lot of bills and like the council tax and all sorts of stuff. It's not fun, and it's like apparently there's like bills from 4 years ago that are unpaid, which is really problematic. That's like not a good time. It is actually incredibly concerning. I was hoping to go on Friday, but I didn't quite make it. I do have a yoga. I am going to yoga over there at 12 o'clock in an hour and a half. I've got my leggings and I've got my vest on under this, so under my red stripes, I'm wearing red stripes. So going to go there. 12 o'clock, do the yoga for an hour, then go to the council place, and I'll take a book with me. I'll be prepared to sit down. I'm going to see what can be done, and hopefully I will sort out what exactly is owed, why there are people who they think are living here but are not living here, and get myself off the council tax because I am moving at the end of the month. And yep, that is my big thing that I have to do. But the yoga will get me out of the house at least and kind of ease me into the unpleasantness of there. I have to admit, I'm very much looking forward to seeing Layla tonight. Also, I want to say that today is the first day of November. And so, I guess, yeah, happy harvest season to everyone, or happy winter. And as of this month, there's going to be new LDEC game of the month every month. So this month, the LDEC game of the month is Wibble. If you haven't tried Wibble, then check it out. I will talk more about it later on in this week, I am sure. But for the LDEC Twitter, there will be a little post about it. But what are you up to? What are you up to? So, let me scroll down. Hello, Joanne. It is lovely to see you. I hope you are generally well. I've just been talking about my favourite game in the world, Go. It is a very deep game. It's a game that I think you could, well, people do devote an entire lifetime to it. But what I'm saying is that as long as you're willing to devote a few hours, I think it's 100% worth playing. JFolsGuard says they want to play Go. Excellent. I encourage it. Find someone, teach them, and play in real life. Real life games are the best. If you can. JFolsGuard is currently taking notes for a roll and writes game. Sounds fantastic. What kind of notes, may I ask? I wish you all the best with your design. Manuel is organising the awards for the best Irish games from last year. Oh, wow. That sounds amazing. So apparently it's digital and analog, but most of them are digital. JFolsGuard has to do some unpleasant admin stuff. And Joanne is trying to think of making a Name That Tune game for their parents. Something with songs for seniors. Yeah, that sounds fun. I mean, I guess that basically comes down to starting off the tunes. Maybe you distort the tunes. Like, could you run the tunes through something on Audacity, like pitch it up or pitch it down or slow it by, like, reduce, make it like double the time or speed it up by 200%. Like, is that what you're thinking? Like, put some filters. That might be fun. Also trying a new video game called Marble Run. That sounds fun. I hope you have lots of fun with it, everyone, whatever you're up to. Oh, the problem is that not many songs have the song title in their lyric. Oh, that many songs have the song title in their lyrics. I guess that's where it comes down to. You have to just get snippets. So you do have to do a bit of pre-organization to yeah, like kind of maybe even blanket during the bits where it says the lyrics. That could be a thing. But yeah, I do accept that there's a lot of pre-organization involved there. Anyway, it has been lovely chatting. And I will recap and wrap up just before I finish up. So today, in conclusion, I talked about spending some time with my friends, making a lovely stir fry with okra no less, and playing Go. And playing Go was just a delight. Go is a brilliant game. I talked about the handicap system, the extra stones. I talked about the different sizes of boards giving you different sorts of experiences. Like maybe you want to, honestly, 7x7 is a fine game for when you're just getting started. And it's not worth playing very much, but, you know, your first couple of games, make your own little board, 7x7. Why not try it? The fact that you are reaching into history, that you're kind of connected with people from millennia ago. The simplicity of the game, the fact that it comes to a conclusion with the pieces being put down and then the board's being filled up. It's not like it ends up in a stalemate. There's something really nice about that. And I accept that it's the same for example, Mindleaf, but it's not necessarily the same for Hive or for chess. And I have a bias for games that are about placement and filling up the board. There's something very nice about that. Although Hex is frankly the best example of this because pieces don't even come up. So Go does need the extra co-roll when you get to top level play. But so many abstract games I've played that at a certain point it's like, yeah, I don't really want to move my pieces forwards. I don't want to move them forwards because then you might take them, and you don't want to move your pieces forwards because I might take them. One of us is going to have to make a suboptimal move as we feel. It's not like we're trying to stop the game from progressing, but we have to make a bad move in order. Go never comes into that. Go is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. Try it. And we talked about, we talked about awards, we talked about admin, we talked about rolling rights notes, we talked about Joanne doing the song, what's this song, and me going to yoga and then to the council and then visiting Layla, which will be nice in the evening. And there's also always work that I should do. And also the LDEC game of the month is Wibble. So lots of love. And J Folsgaard suggests for a song, pick that song, the instrumental version. And Joanne says, whilst we have changed our clocks and Joanne hasn't, Joanne might be able to see me more often. That's a lovely thought. J Folsgaard, haven't figured it out. Instrumental might work better though. You have a point. Well, I'm glad. I do hate to say goodbye, but you know, it is that time. And if you want to see more of me, then of course you can follow me on stuffbybez.com, twitter.com/stuffbybez, instagram.com/stuffbybez, twitch.tv/stuffbybez is probably where you're watching, or on youtube.com/stuffbybez. If you want to join the Discord, it's stuffbybez.com/discord. And these are my streams. I am streaming every day at 10 a.m. UK time. Tomorrow I will be back at 10 a.m. UK time. I'm going to be talking to Jess. It will be a little bit longer. We will talk about colouring in. We will also be talking about greeting cards, games that are about colouring in, and our greeting cards. Exciting times. So yeah, let's talk about those things. Do you know any games that are greeting cards? Do you know? I know like 3 games that are about colouring in. The one that was by Chip the Flying Sheep, the one that was by Haba, and I don't know of any other Roland colour games. But yeah, and I don't know any games that came on greeting cards, but maybe you can tell me of something. But if either way, I want to say one last thank you, everyone. You have been excellent and lots of love. Oh wow, those are amazing emojis. I love that. Those are the best emojis. Oh, thank you for being here, J Folsgaard. You are excellent. And yeah, just thank you, everyone. But there is one thing that I have to say. It's the time when I say, bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye bye, everyone. I am going to skedaddle, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye bye. Lots of love. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye, Manuel. Ooh, new feature fancy. Not raiding. I'm just saying bye bye. Sorry.